my sort of mantra with all of the guys, whether it's a session, whether it's a training block, or whether it's a whole season, you need to see improvements. That motivates you to come in and have your next session. And remember, this is a performance game. You can make it look nice, but if it's not doing what you need it to do down the other end, that's of no use. Professional sportsmen, all sports people should be looking to improve with every session that they do. That means the next one's going to be even better.
Kevin, we've seen you at work this week with some of the outlaw seamers in this hall. What have been the general aims in these first few weeks of pre-season for you?
So general aims would be just to start their programmes off. So Pete Moores and I had a chat with all the bowlers at the end of the season, getting an idea of just reviewing what they've done and areas that they would like to improve. Then we start them on their physical process. That's a very important part of the bowling process as well. We've got to make sure that they're doing the right things to then complement what I want to do with them bowling. So I'll spend a bit of time talking to Liam and to Henry to make sure that their programme is complementing what I'll be trying to do, and they've been great accommodating that. Obviously checking out with Pipey and with Trent, the physios, to make sure that recovery-wise they've recovered from all their aches and pains. We need them to do that. That's really important. If you've got a 6-week block where you can actually let their bodies calm down from the rigours of the season, it means the starting point they're as fresh as they can be. And then, it's just working their way into it in this first Christmas block, which is really about exploring their game, how we can fine-tune it to be as good as it can possibly be. Then bearing in mind we've got the run up into the 10th, which is when you start to really review all your bowlers and how they're doing, and you start thinking about selection for the season.
How important is it that the work you do with the bowlers is tailored to their own styles, their own needs?
Massively so. So one thing I've learned through my time as a bowling coach, and a coach as well, is everyone's individual. I think everyone knows that now. That's it's banded out there massively, and that's a good thing. But I think there's something else as well. It doesn't matter what you're working on as long as they improve. And my sort of mantra with all of the guys, whether it's a session, whether it's a training block, or whether it's a whole season, you need to see improvements. That motivates you to come in and have your next session. So if you can be really, really clear about what you're trying to improve, you have your plan, sometimes in there, something else comes out, which is fantastic. It means you've got the flexibility to move within that. And it also means that players are actually starting to explore freely what they do. You don't want them to come in and just be tight and, I've got to work on that particular bit. You want them to come in and say, do you know what, I'm going to explore my whole game. And sometimes a seam position might change, or speed might go up, or your areas might improve. And remember, this is a performance game. You can make it look nice, but if it's not doing what you need it to do down the other end, that's of no use. So it's all about improvements. You try to use the technology you've got, so good cameras, speed guns, things like that. And that gives you some really objective information. But I think the most important thing is you listen to what your player's saying. And generally if they say, that feels different, that's worth exploring. That feels better, it's definitely worth exploring. And you're just looking for little body language things as well as you go on. But you're also trying to make the sessions challenging. And that's the whole point. You make it more difficult than hopefully the game's going to be, so that they learn to actually cope with things that are more difficult than when they play.
Is that exploration easier at this time of year when you're not kind of in a rhythm of games every week or every few days, to have a bit more time to explore?
Of course it is, because you've got time, but I don't subscribe to the you can't do it during competition. I think improvement is a mindset. And if you've got a mindset where you feel you can improve bowling one ball, or bowling an over, or bowling through a winter, I think you're going to go a long, long way. I'm very lucky here. The bowlers are incredibly open to improving. So there's been times during the season when we might just drop back and do a little bit of work to improve. And, with that mindset, it means that you're going to keep improving, especially during the season. Why would you stop? As soon as the season starts, actually stop trying to improve. If you're saying, I'm happy with what I've got. Professional sportsmen, all sports people should be looking to improve with every session that they do. that means the next one's going to be even better.
We've captured some of your work with Steven Mullaney this week, in particular in the past few days. What have been the sorts of conversations, things you've been looking at with him so far?
So with Steve, in Champions Red Ball cricket, I mean, he's an unbelievable white ball bowler. He has a role and he fulfills that probably better than anyone in the country. My challenge for Steve is to bowl more in red ball cricket because he's a fantastic bowler. So what we're trying to do is almost make bowling feel easier for him, so he'll bowl more. I mean, he has a lot of other things to do. He's captaining the side, he's an all-rounder. But we're trying to take a little bit of the strain off his body, give him some easier pace and some skills that he feels he can repeat for longer. So we're trying a few different techniques to see which one's fit for him. And then we're also just going to try and load him up, obviously, in the gym. He's doing a great job there with Pricey. And he's getting himself in really good condition as well. And all those things will go together, which will hopefully mean he can bowl for a little bit longer next year. Remember, if you bowl for longer, you get better. And as you're getting better, you take more wickets. And then hopefully the team wins more games.
And we've seen the wealth of tricks and camera work and equipment you've got in here. How important is it that you mix the sessions up with that kind of freshness for the players?
Yeah, it is important that you try and keep it fresh, but remember it's about the basics and the things that work. Sometimes it can look like a bit of a circus setup. We've got cones all over the place, poles, we've got crash mats. And I think where I've been lucky is I've been able to use these methods, but I've had them in lab conditions. So when we were at Loughborough, we used the force plates, we used motion analysis, and we could actually see how the drill was manipulating the body. And one thing that was really clear is that one drill doesn't fit all. So you have to explore which one potentially challenges them enough to get the adaptation that you're looking for. And sometimes it doesn't work and you just have to go back to the old-fashioned, right, we're just going to have to bowl it in. But sometimes some of these drills really do short-circuit their learning very, very quickly, and they just get it. And that's the bit there where you're listening. You're listening to what they're saying. Are there some really good clues that this drill's either working or not working? And that's why just having a varied amount of techniques and methods just allow you to explore what's going to get you there quicker. Remember, getting there quicker is always better because it means you can go back to the bowling bit, which is get them with a batter there, get them immersed in the competition, and that's when you get better and you take your wickets, we win games. Remember, you have to focus everything down to winning games of cricket.
And on a personal level, what is it that gives you the most satisfaction when you come out of a morning or an afternoon's work with the guys in here?
Just the improvement. So if we've had a session and there's been any sort of improvement, and I try to use the continuum of that's where they are, that's where they want to get to, even if it's just a tiny bit along there, you celebrate that because it means you're moving towards improvement. And if you've had those sessions, personally, that's the time I walk out at the end of the day and I think that's really been worth it. Sometimes you don't get it, and that's okay. You just have to review your methods. And sometimes you might just say, we've just got to keep going for a little bit longer, or that's where you might use the technology. So I will go home, I'll review my notes, I'll look at the footage away from the player and then come back with, look, here's something else for you. Shall we give it a go? There's science and there's inexact science and there's coaching. You're trying to blend it all together to hopefully get that improvement that the player's looking for.